This is the Synthetic Signal Report for Monday, March 16th, 2026, in the morning. Today we examine Canada's Bill C-22 and its mandates for mass metadata surveillance, and the shift at Hua Hong as China's second-largest chipmaker moves towards 7-nanometer production. We analyze Google's new mandatory registration requirements for Android developers in specific global regions and Interpol's massive takedown of 45,000 malicious servers. We also track a potential breakthrough in quantum factorization, a successful mid-stage trial for a GLP-1 obesity pill from Structure Therapeutics, and an under-the-radar headless browser that claims to outperform Chrome. Finally, we look at proof-carrying materials for machine learning safety and new nanophotonic tools for molecular sequencing. The Canadian Parliament is currently debating Bill C-22, a piece of legislation that would fundamentally alter digital privacy by mandating mass metadata surveillance. The bill requires telecommunications and internet service providers to collect, preserve, and provide subscriber metadata to government agencies upon request. This data includes internet protocol addresses, session durations, and course location data. Unlike traditional wiretaps, these requests often bypass the high evidentiary standards required for a full warrant. The analytical focus here is on the breadth of metadata. While the content of messages remains technically protected, the metadata allows for the construction of a high-fidelity map of an individual's social network, physical movements, and digital habits. Critics argue that this creates a permanent digital paper trail for every Canadian citizen. The bill also introduces new penalties for providers that fail to implement the necessary tracking infrastructure, effectively forcing private companies to act as an extension of the state's surveillance apparatus. Hua Hong, China's second-largest semiconductor manufacturer, is reportedly preparing for 7-nanometer production. This move is a critical part of Beijing's broader drive for semiconductor self-sufficiency. For several years, Hua Hong has focused on mature nodes, specifically 28-nanometer and above, which are used in automotive and industrial applications. The transition to 7-nanometer represents a significant leap in technical complexity. It suggests that Hua Hong has successfully navigated international equipment restrictions, likely by repurposing existing deep ultraviolet lithography systems through multi-patterning techniques. This development follows a similar trajectory seen at SMIC, China's top chip maker. By establishing a second domestic source for 7-nanometer chips, China is reducing its reliance on foreign foundries for the high-performance silicon required for AI accelerators and high-end mobile processors. Google is introducing new, mandatory registration requirements for all Android developers, including those who distribute apps through side-loading or third-party stores like F-Droid. Starting in September, developers in Brazil, Singapore, Indonesia, and Thailand must register with Google, pay a $25 fee, and provide verified identity documentation. Google plans to roll these requirements out globally shortly after. This is a significant shift in the Android ecosystem's open philosophy. Even if a developer does not use the Google Play Store, they must still enter Google's database to reach users in these regions. Google frames this as a security measure to combat malware and fraud. However, for organizations like F-Droid, which focus on privacy and anonymous contribution, this requirement is seen as an existential threat. It creates a centralized gatekeeper for all Android software, regardless of the distribution channel, and allows Google to track and potentially deplatform developers across the entire mobile operating system. Bruce Schneier is highlighting a new theoretical result in quantum factorization that could potentially speed up the process of breaking modern encryption. The research suggests a more efficient way to factor large numbers using a quantum computer, improving upon the mathematical foundations established by Shor's algorithm. While the result is currently theoretical, it has significant implications for the timeline of Q-Day, the point at which quantum computers can break RSA and other public key cryptosystems. Schneier remains skeptical of the immediate practical impact, noting that the physical hardware required to run such an algorithm at scale still does not exist. However, If the mathematics hold up, the requirements for a cryptographically relevant quantum computer may be lower than previously estimated. This reinforces the urgency for organizations to transition to post-quantum cryptographic standards, such as those being developed by the National Institute of Standards and Technology. Interpol has announced the successful conclusion of a global operation that resulted in the takedown of 45,000 malicious servers. These servers were primarily used for hosting phishing sites, command and control infrastructure for botnets, and malware distribution points. The operation involved law enforcement agencies across multiple jurisdictions and focused on the technical heart of cybercrime operations. By neutralizing such a large volume of infrastructure simultaneously, Interpol aims to cause a structural disruption to the as-a-service economy used by mid-tier threat actors. Structure Therapeutics has reported significant weight loss results from its mid-stage trial of an experimental oral obesity medication. Unlike current leading treatments that require weekly injections, this is a daily pill. The GLP-1 receptor agonist demonstrated a weight loss profile competitive with existing injectables, but with a potentially lower barrier to patient adherence. The company is now moving toward a Phase 3 study. This development is being closely watched as it could significantly lower the cost and logistical complexity of treating obesity at a population scale. An under-the-radar development has emerged in the world of automated web interaction. A new open-source headless browser has been released that is reportedly 9 times faster and uses 16 times less memory than Chrome when operating over a network. For years, the industry has relied on Chromium-based tools for web scraping and automated testing, which are notoriously resource-heavy. This new engine represents a signal from the future of lean automation. By stripping away the overhead of a full browser and optimizing the networking stack, it allows for high-density automation on minimal hardware. Research published on AR-14 introduces proof-carrying materials, a framework for providing safety certificates for machine-learned interatomic potentials. These models are used to simulate and discover new materials, but they often lack formal reliability guarantees. In benchmarks, standard models missed over 90% of stable materials. This new approach uses falsifiable certificates to ensure the models adhere to physical laws, providing a much-needed safety layer for AI-driven material science. The security community is currently tracking a wave of highly convincing phishing attacks. According to Microsoft Defender researchers, threat actors are using compromised digital certificates to sign malicious files. These files impersonate workplace applications like Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and Adobe Reader. Because the malware is digitally signed, it bypasses many standard security alerts, tricking office workers into installing remote access backdoors. In the community chatter, Discord is facing heavy criticism for a failure to disclose a vulnerability that led to the leak of authentication tokens and private messages. The leak reportedly impacts all Discord integrations and highlights a systemic failure in the platform's security posture. We are also monitoring multiple vulnerabilities in HCL8ON, where container-based images were not properly authenticated. This allows for the usage of untrusted images that could lead to unintended system behavior. Additionally, the Mattermost platform has issued patches for several issues, including a memory exhaustion flaw when processing PSD image files and a vulnerability that allowed removed team members to continue searching public channels. Finally, the Chilean ransomware group has claimed a new victim, posting data from MCC Economics on their leak site. This highlights the ongoing activity of high-tier ransomware groups targeting specialized economic and research firms. This concludes the synthetic signal report for this morning.